Hello, this is Dark Shades, and this is part 2 of Are You Worrying About What People Think? Now, I guess it all depends who the people are. Now, could it be the people you love, your close family, your profession, people at work, or can it just be regular people that, maybe friends and colleagues and, people on the street even? How many people are you going to worry about what they're thinking about you? I mean, if it's your spouse, you can kind of understand why you'd be worried about what he or she thinks. But conversely, that person shouldn't want to change who you are. And you shouldn't really have to worry, providing you're coming from a place of love and caring, you shouldn't really have to worry what others think. But if you're coming from a place of hostility, frustration and anger, and then you say something and it's out of line, then of course you're going to worry about what someone thinks, and that person has a right to put you right. And you should be able to acknowledge that and recognise that you've been out of place. And in that circumstance, you should worry about what people think. But, all things being equal, and you're exercising some moderation, and you're being a nice person in quotes, and you're just being yourself, you shouldn't really worry about what people think. So don't let critical relatives and friends who are suffering from their own insecurities come between you and fulfillment, because a lot of them do. You'll have close friends and relatives that will see you really doing well, and they want to put the oar in and make you feel uncomfortable and make you feel as though you're not doing right. They'll criticize how you look or what you're doing or who you're with, and they make these little digs that are designed to make you feel uncomfortable. So don't let them do that. Because obviously they have their own insecurities and whatever. But instead, look at who motivates you. Look at who you admire and who has faced similar fears to you and overcome them. Because we all go through our own little stories, our own little experiences, our own tragedies. And sometimes we think we're quite alone in our sadness and in our experiences. And especially when some of those experiences are not very pleasant. And some of those experiences are what has made us insecure and made us feel vulnerable and made us feel unlovable and made us worry about what people think. It's those same experiences why we seek endorsement and validation from an external source. So we have to think about that. So instead of allowing ourselves to bury ourselves in self-doubt and negative thoughts, if we look at people who motivate us, read their biographies of the heroes and heroine who didn't follow the crowd, we can feel safer being ourselves. And I know that there are so many people, when you think of people like Oprah Winfrey, I mean, she was actually raped by her cousin, I believe. And she had all manners of things, deaths and every tragedy you could think of. Oprah Winfrey experienced it and overcame it. And look, she's one of the richest women in the world because she didn't wallow in it. Instead, she shared how she was feeling. And now she nurtures people who go through tragedies and who have problems and who've had bad experiences and who've been, tortured. I mean, the other day she had a boy, well, he turned into an adult now. I think he was about 26, but at the age of 11, he had been tied up like a dog by his stepmother and father, and they beat him and starved him and treated him atrociously, and they had him with a collar around his neck. And he survived that. And he was telling his story, how he survived. And when you think about stories like that, and he held no hatred for his father. And I don't know what happened to the stepmother. I think they only got a couple of years as well. You know, it was in America, but I think they only got a couple of years. I think that's diabolical. Anyway, he was he was talking, and that's what she did. So, you know, depending on what you've been through that's made you the way you are, why you do have self-doubt, and it could be anything. Some people have self-doubt because they didn't grow up with their parents. Some people have self-doubt because they were abused as a child. Some people have self-doubt because they wasn't loved, they were isolated, or they were punished severely. Some people have self-doubt because, you know, there are so many reasons why people grow up with self-doubt and always seeking approval from other people. So it is important that you realize that you're not alone in that, but you should be alone in your uniqueness and your individuality, and to exploit that part of you that's authentic. And if you read biographies, it can help you see what steps they took. And I'm not saying that their steps work for everyone, but it does make you feel safer knowing that, you know, we're all in this together. Being true to your whole self takes courage and perseverance, but in the long term, it does feel better. I know that, you know, when somebody points a finger at you, especially in public, or if you dare to be different, you know, somebody draws attention to it. Like I say, my hair, you know, sometimes it does draw quite a bit of attention. I don't think it's that crazy, but it does draw attention, and I do get little digs every now and then. And sometimes, you know, depending on who it is, you can feel quite embarrassed. And when we feel embarrassed, we almost feel ashamed. And I sometimes think, oh, should I have really worn my hair like this? Maybe I should have worn a wig, depending on where I'm going. And, you know, it's a similar embarrassment that anyone would feel when they're caught doing something wrong, or if you're penalised in public. It makes us wonder what people think of us and how poorly they think of us. And I'm not lying, you know, because when I know if I go to a dance and I don't wear my wig and I go as I am now and nobody dances with me or asks me to dance, I do question what people think. And I know at the end, you know, people will say, oh, Myrna, you know, it looks good, you know, don't worry about what people think. But you do sometimes. That's how we're raised. You know, we do seek approval, not to the extent where you should compromise yourself, but we live in that society where we look for that, you know, that camaraderie, that coming together, that love, so to speak. So, but what it does when you're worrying about what people think, it inhibits our creativity. We become less spontaneous and we're not as happy as we could be. So social acceptance is important to us. And that's what I'm saying, you know, it's fine to say, oh, don't worry about what people think. But if it's going to isolate you and make you feel like a lone wolf, you don't really want that. You don't want to be a lone wolf. You do want to be a part of the crowd. And I know they say most leaders of change are on their own, and it takes a lot of courage. But I also think that those lone rangers, or whatever they want to call them, they still seek endorsement deep inside, because it's innate in all of us to be a part of a whole and not to be just by ourselves. So we are talking about, well, you know, not worrying about what people say, and practice what you know, I'm suggesting that we practice what researchers call attentional control. Attentional control is being able to control what you pay attention to. It involves practicing the ability to direct your attention to those things on which you wish to focus and away from those things you do not wish to focus on. And perhaps the best way to practice attentional control is through mindfulness. Although mindfulness does not work for everyone, mindfulness helps you to develop greater self-awareness. So focus your attention on the goals that you are trying to accomplish rather than on what others are thinking on you. And when it helps you to focus your attention away from what others are thinking of you, you end up being yourself. And mindfulness is a new buzzword. It is about focusing your attention on you, what you want, how you want to be, what you want to achieve. And it's about concentrating on that fully, focusing on it. Now, supposing I wanted to, I don't know, just say this video, for example. I want to do a video. So it would mean that from the moment I get up to the moment I'm actually doing the video, I'm thinking of ways what I'm going to say, how I'm going to say it, I'm going to do my outline, and I'll be focusing on that so much it won't really matter what people say. Admittedly, I look at my videos and think, oh, I haven't had any views, and it does make you think, I wonder if anybody, and that's where, you know, that worrying about what people think, you know, have I said something that's going to offend someone? You know, maybe they don't like the way I look. Maybe it's because I put the word black in the title. And maybe it's because, you know, I sound like an activist. Or maybe it's because I sound like, you know, whatever it is. Sometimes it is inevitable that you are going to think that way. We're only human after all. But that should not stop us, and it definitely doesn't stop me, whether people are reading my videos or not, whether I have 1 view or 10 views or 1,000 views. I'll continue, because it's about, even if one person benefits from what I'm saying, that one person is enough. So this is about helping people to not worry about what other people think and to be their authentic self. Okay, so this is Dark Shades, and it's over and out.